So today we're going to be cooking honey pepper chicken over steamed white rice. So let's get started. So we're going to start off with 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And I'm going to cut them up into bite-sized pieces, or about 2 inches. You can cut them up a little bit smaller, they'll just cook quicker, so it's up to you. Once we have that all cut up, we're going to start seasoning the chicken. And first we're going to do about a tablespoon of white pepper. To that we'll add 2 scallions or green onions finely chopped, and 1 tablespoon of fresh ginger. It's optional, but I'm going to add a teaspoon of red pepper flakes for a little bit of heat. And lastly, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, which is going to help break down the proteins of the meat and help to make it tender. So this is what our mix is looking like. I'm going to mix it together and cover it with plastic wrap and let it sit in the refrigerator anywhere from a half an hour to 2 hours. It really doesn't take too long, so anywhere from a half an hour to 2 hours is perfect. And once we set that aside in the fridge, we can get started on slicing our vegetables. Let's start off with a half of yellow onion, red bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, and green bell pepper. And then I'm going to take 1 clove of garlic that I've peeled and removed the skin, and about a 1-inch piece of fresh ginger, which I've also removed the skin, and I'm going to chop those up together and set them aside. And now we can work on our honey glaze sauce that's going to coat our chicken and our stir-fried vegetables. I'm going to start off with a half a cup of honey, a tablespoon of low-sodium soy sauce, about a teaspoon to a tablespoon of water. This is going to help thin out our sauce, make it easier to coat our chicken and our vegetables. A teaspoon of Mirin. Mirin is a Japanese cooking wine, but you can leave it out if you don't have it. And then here we have a teaspoon of rice wine vinegar. You can use apple cider vinegar if you don't have the rice wine vinegar. You're going to stir that up, and then you want to give it a taste. And just see how it tastes to you. Does it need more sweetness from maybe the vinegar, the rice wine, not the rice wine vinegar, the Mirin, or you can even add a little sugar. Does it need a little bit more tang or sourness from the vinegar? It's really up to you. So I tasted it and I noticed that it was good, but it just needed a little bit of heat to kind of make it more alive. So I added a teaspoon, probably actually 2 teaspoons of red pepper flakes. So that little bit of heat will help bring all the flavors up on your palate and make it just a little bit more vibrant. So now I'm just going to taste it again, and it was perfect. So we're just going to set that aside. So now that we've got that ready, we can get our batter ready for our chicken and fry it up. So we're going to use a half a cup each of cornstarch and white all-purpose flour and a 1/4 cup of club soda. And to that we're also going to add a teaspoon of white pepper and a teaspoon of salt, just to make sure that our batter isn't bland. So we're going to mix that up, and it should be not too thin, but it shouldn't be too thick. It should be about the consistency of pancake batter. So once we have that ready, we're going to add our chicken pieces in. And one thing about that, you just want to make sure that you're not adding any of that excess liquid. So just dab that off or get rid of that before you add the chicken in, because that will make the batter thin. And you really want the batter to coat the chicken so that it will have a nice crisp crust for when you get it frying. So get that chicken into the batter and coat it really well. And on a stove you should have 2 cups of vegetable oil. getting it to about 400 degrees in about a 12-inch pan, 10 to 12-inch pan. Not too big. You want it to be able to cover the chicken. So we're going to add the chicken into the oil and let that fry for about 10 minutes. You'll hear the change in the oil once the chicken gets done. Just listen to the oil. It will actually become more quiet once the chicken is ready. So now we're going to remove it from the oil and put it on a paper towel to drain. And we have everything we need to get started on our stir fry. So we're going to start off by cooking our peppers and our onions in a little bit of oil. And then we're going to add in the garlic and the ginger. And we're going to cook that on medium-high heat until the vegetables are tender. So now we're going to add our chicken. And then we're going to add our sauce. And we're going to mix that thoroughly so that everything is coated, both the chicken and the vegetables. And we'll let that cook up for about 5 or 10 minutes. Once that's all ready, we can serve it over white rice and let our family enjoy it. I hope you give it a try and let me know. Thanks for watching.